Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I can't believe it, but somehow we are halfway through 2025, and if you happen to be new here and didn't know, I love doing quarterly flip throughs of my journal. It almost serves as like a time capsule for me, and it's just a way for me to keep you guys up to date on what my journal is looking like so far in the year. I feel like I've done a lot of journaling between Q1 and Q2, so I'm really excited to show you guys some of the new pages that I've made in here. Hopefully they serve as inspo for your own journal. I already know this journal is going to be huge by the end of the year because, as you can see, it's about halfway through exactly, it looks like, and it's already getting very chunky. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy seeing some of my spreads, and let's go ahead and get into the flip through. Okay, so here is my journal if you haven't seen her before. This is a Leuchtturm A5 journal, I believe. I'll have the exact one that this is in the description box, but it's this beautiful light gray color, and then this Miffy sticker is from Etsy. I have done a Q1 flip through already on my channel, so for those pages I will still show them, but if you want kind of a more detailed look at those particular pages, I will leave that video in the cards. So we have my vision board as the first page of my journal. I do this with all my journals. I just love having a vision board as my starter page for the year. This is another kind of intro page that I did at the beginning of the year where I just wrote down my ins and outs, and then in this envelope here I have a little letter to myself that I'll probably open at the end of 2025. Here is my reading log page, which I have yet to fill in. I honestly forgot that I even did this, so I'm going to have to go back here and fill out the books that I've read to date. I honestly haven't been reading too much this year, so I have definitely neglected this spread. I will have to come back to it, and I actually also left a blank set of pages here so I could do more like bookish pages, maybe do a collage of all of the books that I end up reading at the end of the year or something like that. Then I have my December recap page. This honestly looks so different than my current pages, but I do think this one was cute for the holiday vibe. Here's a little junk journal page that I did. Not much to say there. This is a little birthday spread for my birthday dinner that I had. This is a kind of 2025 like media list that I made, so we have some movies and books that I want to consume in 2025. Here's another birthday spread that I did for when I went out with some friends. I love doing current favorite pages, as you guys will see throughout my journal, but this is the first one that I did. And then this is my January recap spread, the first one of the year, and I love the like warm orangey color scheme that I went with this one. This page was inspired by Pinterest, I believe, but basically just listed out 25 things that I love, and then I made this collage here actually on Canva and pasted it into my journal, which was fun. This is a vibes I bring to the function page inspired by a Instagram post that I found. Super fun, basically just collaged everything that I feel like represents me. And this was my first time kind of trying out this style of collaging, and it's become quickly one of my favorite ways to collage in my journal. Here's my February recap spread. This one was really simple for some reason. I barely used any photos, I guess because it was a short month, but I do like this little map element that I threw in here. This is my picnic basket spread that I did. This was inspired by the TikTok filter, if you guys have ever seen before, where you would pick out what snacks and things that you would bring with you on a picnic. So that was really fun to do. Any kind of personalized page like this is one of my favorites. Here is another kind of like Instagram inspired journal idea that I had. So it's all about where your lore started. So essentially all of the different media and things that you loved as a child, and I thought it would be cool to turn that into a journal page. So let me know if you guys remember any of these things or if we shared any of the same childhood interests. Here is a kind of like all about me type of spread. So I put some of my favorite media mostly, along with some of my favorite foods and drinks and things like that, along with this super cute photo strip that I had. This is a super random junk journaling page, so I basically just collaged some random photos that I had. Being that I'm always like printing out pictures for my journal, it just so happens that I collect a lot of extra photos that I don't end up using in my spread, so of course I don't like them to go to waste, and I find that they work best in kind of random junk journaling pages like this one. Then we have my dream closet spread. This one was cool because I was kind of playing with this style of collaging where I did a mix of cutouts and then regular photos. I definitely wanted to play around with more layering techniques this year, so this was one of them that I tried and I ended up really liking this one. But basically in this spread I collaged some things that were on my clothing wish list, as well as some cute outfits that I found on Pinterest as well. Then we have one of my all-time favorite spreads. They are kind of separate pages that I made sort of come together with a cohesive kind of vibe and color scheme. So here we have a Life Lately spread where I just collaged some photos and ephemera that I had collected recently, and then I actually wrote on it as well to just label what the things are. I just really love the style of this page. And then on the right side here I did a little what's in my bag spread. I love seeing these on Pinterest and TikTok, so I decided to try it out for myself in my journal. So I just put in some of my favorite things that I always keep in my purse. So this was a really fun one to make. This is kind of a junk journaling spread that I did with some business cards and some photos from when I went antiquing. Here is my March recap spread. I love the way this one turned out. This honestly might be one of my favorite monthly or recap pages that I've ever done in any of my journals. I think I just love the way that everything ended up layering together, and the sizing of all the photos also came out really well. This is when I also kind of embraced more doodling in my journal. So as you can see, I labeled some of the things that I wanted to call out for my March favorites, and then also added some doodles onto the photos themselves, which I loved. I also feel like the color scheme of this one is fun because it's kind of a mix of everything. But yeah, this is definitely one of the spreads that I always look back on just because of how cute it turned out. This is a little spread that I did for my mom's birthday. So we went bowling and did some various activities, so of course had to collage all of those things here. This is a spread I actually did in collaboration with Clean Journey. I worked with them on an Instagram reel, and this is the spread that I made for that video. As you guys could probably tell, I'm obsessed with doing little Receiptify playlists like these, so I had to include that along with collaging just some of my current favorite things for the springtime. This is another kind of like random weekend dump that I did. Basically just collaged some photos that I took over the weekend, and I wanted to do kind of like this fun red retro color scheme. Then we have a other kind of like random collage, basically just put together some things that I was currently loving. And then on the right side here I have a little junk journaling page where I just put in some packaging of things that I had got recently. I do love how the pinks and just the overall colors kind of complement each other with this spread. Here's the pages I did for my Easter weekend. This one was super cute because I incorporated some fun stickers that I had, and this like blue-green pastel-y color scheme I thought was perfect for the Easter time. And of course had to throw in a little Miffy sticker. This is also kind of one of my favorite spreads I think in my journal so far this year. Here are some other fun like photo dumpy pages. Once again, I was going on a lot of walks at this time of year, so I decided to collage some of those pictures that I took. And then here's kind of a mini early summer vision board that I wanted to do. So I had this super cute lemon scrapbook paper that I had to include, along with some pictures that I'd been collecting on my summer board on Pinterest. Here we have my April recap. Honestly, don't love the way that this one turned out, but I do think it was fun how I used some interesting elements that I found on Canva. And then I also put in some makeup products in here, which I hadn't really done before, so that was cool. Kind of from this point is when I was attempting to use more color in my journal, so definitely the pops of pink and blue were fun in this one. This is a spread that I have to come back to. I actually was doing a collage of magazine cutouts. I recently just thrifted a new magazine, so I'm gonna have to go through that and collage some more in the negative space here. Here we have my Q1 recap that I did. This one was so much fun, and I'm currently in the process of making one of these for Q2 as well, but I just did a corkboard background and collaged some of my favorite photos and media for the first quarter of the year. And then on the right side here, I basically just wrote down all of my favorite memories and moments from Q1, and this one was really cool to do, especially because I normally only use photos in my journal. It's nice to also have some writing so I can really reflect and look back on the specific things that happened in writing as well. Here we have two sort of separate collages. This was another kind of recently type of photo dump, so I just put in in some photos and ephemera that I had. And then on the right side here, I did something that's called an image file, but essentially it's just a little mini vision board with some pictures that I had saved on my Pinterest. Here is my actual full summer vision board for 2025. So I just collaged some of my favorite summer photos that, again, I took from Pinterest. Really love the blue and like coastal vibes of this spread, kind of just envisioning what I wanted my summer to look like here. Next up, we have this spread that I did for my friend's bachelorette party. It was lover themed, so I threw in some pinks and some ephemera in here. Honestly, a pretty basic spread. I just wanted to commemorate the weekend because it was so much fun. This is another like 2 separate spreads in one type of page. So on the left here, I did a almost forgot this is the whole point journal spread, which was an idea that I had based on the TikTok trend that was going around, basically just collaging things that make me happy and fulfill me. And then on the right side, I just collaged some photos that I had from when I went to the arcade. Here is one of my favorite spreads, I think, in my journal so far this year. Basically just collage my capsule wardrobe, which is essentially all of your like staple lifetime pieces that you want to have in your closet. I specifically called out the names of most of the items, and I really like how I cut out each individual item. I just feel like it elevates the page and gives it a really different look than just collaging regular photos. It definitely takes up more time, but I think it ends up looking really nice. Next up, we have this spread which I collaged for a little cottage weekend that I had. Of course, I decided to go for a blue vibe, so I made this little photo strip element here, and then of course had to include some fun ephemera that I had collected on the weekend as well. If you guys couldn't tell, this year I've been so obsessed with using this brown paper bags as a background in my journal. I basically use it in every single one of my spreads at this point, and I'm not mad about it. I just love the color of it and how easy it is to use in my journal, so would definitely recommend trying it out in yours. Next up, we have my May recap spreads. You guys already know the drill. I just collaged some of my favorite photos that I had taken in the month of May, and then of course we have to put in my favorite thing ever, which is my Receiptify playlist. And then obviously I love to throw in some random ephemera that I collect throughout the month too. This one didn't really have much of a color scheme, more so just neutral vibes. This spread was so much fun to make. It's basically a sticker dump where you throw in any stickers that you've kind of been hoarding and not using, and this was just so much fun to make. I will link the creator that I got the inspiration for this spread as well as the other spreads in the description box, but this was just really therapeutic, honestly, and definitely a great way to add more color into my journal like I mentioned. Then we have my things I consider to be self-care spread. This was also inspired by one of my Instagram friends. I actually made this in a video not too long ago, but I love this overall style of journaling where I include doodles and collaging on top of a background with the little craft paper bits layered up as well. It just creates a lot of dimension to the page, and it's honestly just really simple to put together. So this was definitely a fun one. This is the journal spread that I made for my friend's wedding. It was so much fun to pick out some of my favorite pictures and put them together in the page just to remember how special of a day it was. I love how I use the music sheets as background. It just feels very romantic and fitting for a wedding spread. Once again, I decided to do another recently sort of dump here. So this one was unique though because I did photos and ephemera on the left side, and then on the right side I mostly focused on media that I was currently consuming. So this was a cute one to do. I absolutely love getting fortunes also at restaurants and putting them in my journal, so that's probably my favorite piece of ephemera that I have here. But I love doing these sort of recently recaps in my journal in between the monthly recaps that I do, just because since the monthly recaps are only one spread, I often don't have enough space to put in all of the pictures and media that I want to talk about, so this just helps me include those somewhere in my journal as well. This spread is so much fun and honestly reminds me a lot of the vibes I bring to the function page that I did at the beginning of the year. This is also inspired by a trend that I've been seeing online a lot. Basically, I just listed out and collage all of the things that I love. Once again, personalized pages are just one of my favorite things. things ever to do in my journal, so this was tons of fun. And again, doing the little cutouts like this is tedious for sure, but always so rewarding because I just love the way that it ends up looking, especially with my little doodles surrounding them. Here's the last page that I'm going to show you guys in this little flip through, but it is my June recap. I will say, next to my March recap that I did, this one might be a close second. I just really love the jean background that I did, and the way that everything ended up layering is also just really unique and different to me, which I love. The pops of blue was also so much fun, and yeah, I just thought that this was cute for the summer vibes. And then the other pages after this, I do have some started already, so let me quickly just show you guys a sneak peek of them. This one is going to be my Q2 recap spread, so I decided to do the layout the same way that I did my Q1 recap, where I will list out my memorable moments here on the right side, and then on the corkboard here I will collage some photos and media from the quarter. Another spread that I've started already is going to be at my July mood board. I haven't done a monthly mood board in a while, so I thought July was probably a fun time to do it since it's prime summertime. So this one should be really fun. I do love this striped background. So those are the two spreads that I have sort of in the works right now. I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on what these spreads look like on my TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, that is what my journal is looking like so far this year. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and looking at my journal pages together with me. If you are curious to see how I end up filling up the rest of this journal, you should definitely stick around and subscribe to the channel, and feel free to let me know which page that I showed today was your favorite down below, or just if you felt inspired by any of them. And I will see you guys in my next video.